Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Painting Happy Little Minis. I'm your host Dave.
And I'm Mia.
Cool. Today we're going to be painting some Nighthaunts, which are the ghosty kind of creatures, continuing our Halloween theme. Nighthaunts from Warhammer Underworld's Night Vault, which is the kind of the second season, I guess, of Games Workshop's Warhammer Underworld's game. First one was Shadespire, which released a year ago. This one released, I think, late last, or in September. Released in September. Warhammer Underworlds is basically, it's a mix of a board game, miniatures game, and deck building card game. So It's got a kind of a crazy blend of those. But it's become very popular over the last year and has a lot of fantastic sort of competitive aspects.
Okay.
So there's loads of deck building going on, loads of lists that people are creating.
Oh, I like lists.
That sort of thing.
I'm weird, I like lists. I'm like, ooh,
Yay.
spreadsheets.
Oh, for sure. People have spreadsheets for all of their cards and what cards they want to use and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to move that to the side so we can reveal our Painting Happy Little Minis
Halloween edition
poster. I'll have to paint that orange in between.
Oh, yeah.
Paint the pumpkin orange, that is.
There we go.
What we're going to do, so we're going to paint these today and on Thursday.
Okay.
And we'll jump sort of straight into the basic stuff. I think a couple of months ago, Jeff Hall, who works down at Games and Stuff, came up and painted with Rick while I was away somewhere. Probably at the beach or something like that. It was fine. And they talked about painting Nighthaunts as well. Mm-hmm. We're going to be using some of the Citadel technical paints that they released for painting Nighthaunts. So I'm just going to show these under the close cam.
Oh, that's cool that they have very specific paints for this.
Oh, the light's in the wrong place. So we have this one here, which is, oh, sorry. There we go. This one here, which is Hexwraith Flame. The wonderful green.
Looks like a Nickelodeon ooze colored.
It does, doesn't it? And I'm going to try and stop moving them around so that Leona can focus well. There we go. Nighthaunt Gloom.
Ooh.
Is this one as well. So they're the ones we're going to focus on today.
Okay.
I'm going to hand that to you there, Mia.
And I'm going to try and keep up with I'm in charge of the chat today, guys. So I'm going to try. I feel so much responsibility right now.
There is a lot of responsibility.
All right.
For sure.
So we've got Dennis and Peter, Josh, and Richard with us.
Hey, everybody. Just quickly, I'm going to reach forward and grab one of these guys and put him under the close cam as well.
Yeah, that's what I have to compare what I do to. Stop showing the really
I'm not
fancy
moving it
done
around.
ones.
It's all on you, Leona.
I know.
Where's it going? There, oh, there we go. Yay. Okay, so this is one of the chain rasps. There are four sort of the minion kind of characters, the chain rasps. This is one of them. I painted up 3 of them for an article that's going to be in Game Trade magazine in November, which I think comes out just right around Halloween.
Nice.
So we went for painting spirits.
That's cool.
So you'll be able to check out, and pretty much what we're doing this week on the show is also going to be in the magazine in printed form.
Oh, cool.
We've got one of those spinning around at the front there if you need to grab those to
Yeah, I'm going
check
to
it out.
have one as a reference because I always bring these really well done ones and I'm like, oh, expectations. So I think this is my first time working with washes actually.
Okay, cool. Well, this is kind of a nice follow-on to like last time we were painting, we were doing dry brushing. Is that right?
Yep.
Cool. So 2 of the main sort of techniques that you get to learn early in painting are dry brushing and washes.
Okay.
Because it's all about adding depth to the miniatures. So I'm going to be working on the Briar Queen and Varklav the Cruel. So I'm going to put those under the close cam again.
A little farther down.
Oh, a little bit further down. Oh, there we go. So 2 crazy models there. Absolutely awesome. spirits.
These are really cool. I love how detailed they are. And then I've got the Everhanged and the Chain Rasp.
Excellent.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I love this, the Everhanged there. The, almost everybody else has the, oh, let me get in the right spot. They have like a skeletal face or a mask or something like that. And the Everhanged there has that very cool.
Like the no face thing.
The cowl, yeah, the no face thing going on, which is
Spooky.
super scary. Okay, awesome.
All right, we got Simon from the UK.
Hey, Simon.
And Alexander. And then someone's asking what your shirt says.
Oh, what's my shirt say? House Orlock engineered
Ooh.
since M38. So this is one of my Games Workshop t-shirts.
Oh, nice.
So I figured that since we're painting Games Workshop models, it's not quite the same game, but it should be all right.
works.
It works. It works.
All right, so with the stain, or with the stains, right?
The
Do you-
wash.
or the wash. Do
Yep.
you just throw it on like you would with regular paint?
Basically, yeah. I always sort of pull it out onto a palette.
Okay. Because I'm a mess.
Mix a little bit of you mix a little bit of water with it. Not too much, but you sort of. It's always better to have like a thinner layer.
Okay.
Because you can do multiple layers of a thin coat. If you put too much on straight away, you'll end up sort of not being able to take that off. But yeah, basically we're just painting it straight over these white primed minis. Nice and super simple. Most of the Nighthaunt models have have underrobes and like a cowl sort of around their shoulders. So we're going to paint those using the two different washes.
So now when someone was saying that these are really small and that they'd go blind. So what do you recommend for people who, maybe these are kind of small for eyesight? Because I know
Right.
me, I have bad eyesight, so I'm like this all the time.
Well, two things. One, obviously I'm wearing glasses, but that's just because of genetics, I'm sure. But you can get magnifying glasses, that sort of thing. When I say magnifying glasses, not just little sort of Sherlock Holmes
Yeah,
kind of
like
magnifying
little
glasses, but
Stands and stuff like that?
yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. You can get lamps that have like ring lights and a magnifying glass in the middle that's something sort of about that size.
Oh, okay.
You can get visors that sort of flip down and allow you
sounds
to-
cool.
Yeah. When you're wearing those, it kind of looks like you can see into the future. They're kind of
We need
wild.
those in here. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
But so you can do all those sorts of things. But really, one of the here that line sort of they seem so small. Sort of you go blind trying to paint them. Using tricks like washing. When I say tricks, it's not really a trick. Using a technique like a wash, you can run that over, and the idea is that the paint will run into the shadows and maybe tint the highlights a little bit. But that's doing a lot of work for you. So you don't actually have to
Gotcha.
go back in with a really fine detail brush and pick out those areas. The wash has already done the work for you.
That's smart.
And it's kind of like that with dry brushing as well. When you have an area that has a lot of texture, like the chainmail that you might be able to see there, sort of right in the middle of the model. You can either paint that all silver and put a black wash over it to give you that, to help that pop out. Or you can paint it black and
And do
dry
a dry
brush the silver over it.
Gotcha.
So it's not as tough as it looks, but it's just a matter of knowing which technique to use or being comfortable using those different techniques is the trick getting to that point. But there we go. So we're just going to pop these on our two minis. Last week, when Gretchen and I were painting, and Rick and I as well, we were painting zombies from Zombicide.
Oh, nice.
We were talking about zombie films. So I thought today we should talk about ghost films.
Ghost films.
Ghost films. Do you have a particular favorite ghost film?
See, okay, I'm weird. I like found footage movies. So I actually used to like the paranormal, what was it? The one where it's like the family in the house and they have the house bugged with all the cameras.
Yes, I think it's paranormal.
Paranormal
Activity.
Yes.
Yeah, Paranormal Activity.
I used to like I mean, the newer ones are kind of cheesy, but like the original ones,
Yep.
I don't know. I find found footage ghost films to be kind of creepy because it's actually more realistic looking.
Right.
So I get really freaked out by those a lot.
Cool. Oh. So, the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, I actually liked I thought it was real for the longest time.
Right.
Because when it came out, I thought it was completely real because they did was it the History Channel? Did like a whole history of the Blair Witch, and I think it was like the first time the History Channel had ever aired something that wasn't actually real.
Oh, okay.
I think it was like the downfall of the History Channel.
Yes. Right now, now it's just ancient aliens.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, come on, guys.
But I
please.
remember they did like a whole thing on the history of the Blair Witch to really make it seem real. And then my dad, like a couple days later, was like, "So, by the way, that movie's not real." I'm like, "How do you know?" And he's like, "They had all the actors on, like Leno or something last night." And I'm like, "No, they're not dead." So.
Yeah, they did a great job for the marketing for that, for sure. I saw that when I was in Australia, and yeah, it was just fantastic viral marketing.
Oh, I wanted to go out to those woods because I'm crazy, and I wanted to go out. I was like, I want to go out there, and I'm going to go stay out there, and I'm going to find this witch.
Wasn't it filmed in Maryland?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's set in Maryland.
Burkittsville, or something like that.
Yep.
God, I still remember that.
Yeah. That's definitely cool. When I moved over here, it was like I should go and check that out, and I haven't. I still haven't.
Well, apparently the town doesn't like people going in there anymore.
Yeah,
So
I can
they've
see that.
actually like taken the sign down, their welcome sign, because they have like I guess too many people were trying to like go off into the woods
Right.
and find the witch.
I can see that. Yeah.
There are too many me's.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Favorite ghost movie? Ghost.
Ghost. I didn't rate that as a ghost movie, but fair enough. That's cool. I think for me it's Poltergeist,
Oh, that was a good
the original
one.
Poltergeist. Just the, particularly the sort of the voice effects on Carol Ann
When she was like in the middle part. Yeah, that was freaky.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it now.
I always hated the scene with the brother with the braces. Because it was like right around when my family wanted me to get braces.
right.
I'm like,
Nope.
I remember watching that like right around that time. And I'm like, no.
I'm going to pass. Yeah.
But I also lived in a house that was kind of haunted, so.
You lived in a haunted house?
It was
Awesome.
weird. Like, you would be downstairs and you would hear the toilet bowl seat upstairs, like going up and down.
Okay.
Or like
Right.
footsteps and doors would open and it was a little weird.
Right.
Cool.
Yep. I don't personally believe in ghosts,
Yeah.
but if I were to, I would perhaps think that our house was a little bit haunted.
What kind of activity do you have?
We've had, it was a while ago. It was before I had kids, but yeah, in the back bedroom, the guest bedroom, or the one that we made the guest bedroom.
Everyone else can sleep here. I was
Yeah.
going to make it the kids' room.
There'd be that similar sort of thing, like footsteps and doors sort of popping open and that kind of thing.
Oh, see, mine closed.
Right. Okay.
Like
yeah.
we were in the living room and it opened, and my dad and I were watching TV, and he goes, "If you're gonna come in," because he knew that
Right.
there was weird stuff, and so he'd mess with it. And he's like, "At least if you're gonna come inside, close the door behind you." And it closed and latched. So that's
Right.
my like. I was like, I don't know how that happened, and I don't want to stay here now.
Excellent. That's cool.
See, I dislike horror movies, but I must admit a strange attraction to paranormal, spooky YouTube videos. Oh.
Okay.
Have you seen like hauntings caught on TV or caught on camera?
Yeah.
I mean, I
I've
know
seen
most
some
of
of
them are
those.
fake, but I don't know, it's scary when it's on a real camera.
Yep. Yeah. When it's not like high budget kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know.
Are you the
don't know
guy
how I
that
feel
like
about
looks
this.
for the strings? You're like, where's the string?
No, I don't look for the strings. It's just like I know this is BS. So And some of it's really cleverly done. Don't get me wrong. I can appreciate the thought that's gone into it. But yeah, as you said, downfall of the History Channel.
Yeah. Now it's
It
just
had to start somewhere. But yeah. I don't know.
People Under the Stairs. Oh, I remember that one.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's like this little kid. Wasn't that the one where it was like a little kid and he breaks into a house or something like that and there's people that live in the walls?
Oh,
It
okay.
was really creepy as a kid. 80s movie.
Okay.
Super creepy.
I have a feeling they might have remade it as well.
Maybe.
Kind of when they were going through like the remaking the house at the end of Last House on the Left or whatever it's called.
And then they redid Poltergeist too.
Yeah, I haven't watched those.
It's kind of like they try to keep it exactly the same but change little things and it's kind of like, yeah.
Right.
Like, let's make it almost exactly the same, but then we'll change her name. And I'm like, it's not Carol Ann.
Carolyn. Don't look into the
Let's see what
light.
else we got. The Conjuring series,
Okay.
which is based on a true story.
Yeah.
That's the ghost hunter couple.
Okay.
And, I've actually seen some of their videos from like their actual investigations. Kind of freaky.
Yeah. Is one ride kind of just go.
Maybe. I don't know. Like I remember they had one. And it was a family that was being haunted, and the girl's like sitting at the table trying to do her homework, and like whatever it is moving her chair.
Right.
And you can see she's like fighting the chair and nothing's pushing it. And I'm like, just let the girl do her homework, man. Like she's just trying to educate herself.
I want her to fail. Fail, I tell you.
If she fails, she'll never leave the house.
Yeah.
So now is this
That's funny.
blue a wash as well?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit thicker, I think, than the green. But yeah. One of the things you can see there with the wash. Sorry. Is it has that, particularly this green has that sort of ghostly kind of glow to it. Got a little bit too much down here. So you can sort of draw that out and move it around. So if you spot that you've got an area where there's a little bit too much pooling, you can just sort of wash your brush out, dry it off, and then wick it away.
See, now I feel for washes, this is where your wet palette comes in handy. A little bit more, maybe?
It can be an odd one. I think, obviously I'm doing the washes on the side here.
Oh, okay.
I can get a little bit more control over them. Because there's already a lot of liquid, adding a little bit more water to have more sort of come through the paper is kind of an odd one. This particular wet palette comes with a little tray that snaps onto the side.
Oh.
That has little it's plastic and it has little wells in it, so you can put your washes into there and mix them in there.
That's smart.
Which is neat. Yeah, it is cool.
How come you guys tell me about all these cool little tools after? Like someone was like, oh, they have a holder thing for this that you guys have never showed me.
Tools are good. But yeah, with the Briar Queen here, this one, I'm not going to paint her cowl with the Nighthaunt Gloom blue. I'm going to do a lot of work bringing that back up to white.
Oh, okay.
So she's going to stand out as different from all of the other Nighthaunts that are sort of sitting around her. And yeah, she's the Briar Queen. The warband that we're painting are the Thorns of the Briar Queen, which are from the. I'll slide it back in here for a second. Warhammer Underworld's Night Vault box set from Games Workshop, which is available in your local stores. I think it's $60 for the starter set. You get two warbands. You get the boards that you play on, the dice, the cards, everything you need to get started, basically. from the Warhammer Underworld Shadespire, which is kind of like season 1 of the game, they released 8 different warbands. And we've painted some of those on the show before. But those warbands are still completely valid and usable in Nighthaunts.
Oh.
So those,
Okay, so you can mix and match, or
yeah,
can mix
yep,
them.
yep. So essentially, it's the same. It's the same rule set. There are a few little tweaks, but they've also added things like casting spells and so on, which is pretty cool. So we can see there on that Nighthaunt gloom. There's quite a lot of it on there at the moment, so I need to let that dry and. Oh, wow.
Okay, so
I didn't
here
realize that
actually,
could
this
go
would be a good example.
Yep.
So, because you could learn from my mistakes. So this is a lighter wash, and then
Okay.
showing like what that with the blue.
Yep.
And then this one, I didn't water down as much, so you can
Okay.
see if it's a little bit. You can kind of see the difference.
Whoa, there we go. So
Yeah.
yeah, on the everhanged there is that thin coat, and so what that means is you'll be able to go back and put another thin coat over
Okay.
it,
And then that one's a little bit more of a thicker coat
thicker
on the
coat on the
yeah.
on this one, the chain rasp. But yeah, I think that still works there.
Yeah.
You've still got shadows and highlights.
I just like with the thinner one, you can see where it pools into the creases, and it gives more depth, as opposed to the thicker one, you kind of lose that depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Learn from my mistakes, guys.
Something that you can do as well, if we're going to talk about models that have a lot of details on them, like all of these obviously do. If you prime a model white and you think, oh, I'm losing some of the details, I can't see them as well. If you get a thin wash of like a sepia or something like that, you can put that over the model, and all of that detail will pop back out.
Ah.
And so then you can go in and paint the individual areas once you have a
Gotcha.
sort of good idea again.
Let's see.
But sometimes if I've got a lot of browns or furs or that sort of thing, I'll go and do that first.
Let's see, we've got Richard asking, he's saying that he really likes your series, and would like to know if we'd ever cover rust effects and other effects in the series on the entry made.
Yeah, we will. We haven't done. I don't think we've done done a lot recently. Well, we haven't really done anything really recently with it. But these models will get a little bit of rust work as well. So I'll show one
They
of
got
these under
chains
the.
and stuff.
Yeah. So because that's sort of one of the later details. There we go. You can kind of see a little bit of it around the crazy contraption over its head, or up on the club. This camera isn't showing it too well.
I know. Sorry.
It's all your fault, Leona. But yeah, we'll get some photos of these as well up on in the group, and but I think we'll probably cover that on Thursday. We'll talk about quick rust effects and that sort of thing.
Okay. So tune in on Thursday when they finish these.
Thursday, 2 p.m.
Hi, Natasha.
Hey, Natasha.
Thank you
Cool.
for the birthday wish.
Wait,
It was yesterday.
yesterday? Oh my
I'm
God.
old now.
Officially? I don't think so. Happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank
Very cool.
Now, I've been lying to the internet about how old I am.
All right.
No one knows.
That's funny.
Let's keep it that way.
Excellent.
All right.
But
Oh, and then you were saying for like the arms, because on the arms on these, because some of them actually do have like flesh still.
oh yeah,
Was doing it with the blue and then doing a.
yeah.
brush.
We'll do some awesome highlighting. Yeah, we'll come back to that after. So, thanks for that. I completely forgot.
Yeah. So paint this arm blue.
Yeah.
Got some hypothermia. That's all right.
Yep.
That's how he died.
I think they're creating the hypothermia, kind of more Dementor's style.
Winter is coming. Maybe. I don't know. Not with how it feels outside. I don't know about you guys, but it's like 80 something degrees out.
It is ridiculous.
Humid outside.
Yeah. Hooray, Mid-Atlantic.
Personally, for a girl that has like really curly hair, it's not a good thing. I'm like, my hair looks good today. Go outside for 2 seconds, and never mind.
Yeah.
Ponytail.
It's supposed to be, they said on the news this morning, sweater weather by Friday. So
Ugh, I'm not ready.
I'm actually totally ready.
All right.
for
Well,
it. I've had enough now. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, you've had enough since like August,
Yep.
right?
Since June.
Since June. Too many days of warmth. That's funny. But yeah, I am looking forward to a break in the humidity.
I think it's crazy for like people that don't know, like this is all filmed in Baltimore, Maryland,
Yep.
where I was not expecting there to be like Florida-like humidity up here.
Yep.
And then I moved here and I'm like, where does this come from?
It is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
And then I think what Florida's bracing for another storm.
Yeah.
I think I heard.
Yeah.
So
The
everyone in
Florida
Florida,
Panhandle.
please be safe.
Yeah. Hurricane Michael. Very crazy. There we go.
There has to be at least one weather report that has like Michael Myers' face on it.
I'm sure there is. If there
Someone
isn't,
has to.
yeah, I'm sure that there are memes going on at the moment. There we go. Okay, so one thing that I will advise folks to do when you're using a lot of washers, so particularly with something like the Nighthaunts, is have a whole bunch of them to work on at once. So, because washers take time to dry, and you don't want to rush things and go back in too quickly, because then you'll get paints leaking onto other colors and all that sort of stuff. So,
Oh, it's Thanksgiving in Canada.
yeah, this past
Whoa.
weekend. They get it out of the way really early.
Is like Canadian Thanksgiving the same where it's basically just a lot of food eating?
I think so, yep. Family and food eating and
No,
giving
just
of
food
thanks.
I'm just there for food.
Right,
I'm
okay.
just kidding. No, it's family. It's family. But the food
Yep.
is important.
I don't think they don't have the rampant commercialism either.
Oh, so like they actually spend time with the families and not like,
That's
I gotta
the-
go get,
Yep.
what was it, Black Fridays?
Yeah, none of that. So, oh, actually, that's good. It's a good time now to.
Okay, wait, now I want to look at what you did. I'm like, let me take one of these examples.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna grab a look at, as well. I'm gonna take a look at the basing that I did. Just while I'm waiting for those washers to dry, I can put a wash over the base. So, all of the all of the Nighthaunt, all the Shadespire models actually come with sculpted bases. So this one is kind of a cracked flagstone, and you can see a sort of a thorn bush or a rose sort of tendril coming up. So I'm going to start that by actually doing a wash over the base with a dark brown. Grab a crappy brush.
Supposed to go through these other ones.
Oh.
Let's see. No. I'm not used to this.
It is kind of tough
So
to.
much responsibility.
It's kind of tough to keep an eye on 3 different chats at once.
Yeah.
Come on, social medias, get together.
Well, and it's like a touchscreen computer. So I'm like over here touching. I know I'm going to go home and I'm going to, why won't my computer work?
There's something wrong with my touch screen. Oh, that'd be because it's not.
Yeah. Mine's not a touchscreen.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Goes down.
Hmm?
Goes out of frame.
Oh, I'm sorry. You'd think by now. You know what the crazy thing is? Almost a year.
Really?
Almost a
Happy
year of
Little
painting Happy Little Minis for me.
I'll have to do like a little anniversary party.
Yeah. It's probably coming up. Well, it'll be 2 years in January. But yeah, it was. I guess the first official episode was the week after Halloween.
Oh wow.
So we got that. And because when I started, we didn't have these fancy cameras here like this. This one. Excellent. So, how many people in the chat have played either Night Vault or Shadespire, which is the first edition, or Season 1?
Season 1.
Season 1.
I kind of like that idea of a game having like seasons.
Yeah, yeah. There's Games Workshop has been around for a long time, so they have a lot of the games have gone through different edition changes, and some of them have been quite drastic, and some of them have been very sort of basic changes. But because these two games, Shadespire and Night Vault, are essentially the same game,
Okay.
it is almost like that season. It's just presenting it in a different way.
Like a continuation story.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's sort of the story. I haven't looked a lot into the background of it, but there's a whole background. It's around the Mirrored City, apparently. So everybody in Shadespire was going in looking for these shards of gems or something like that, magical items. But the city itself has collapsed, so all the floors have fallen away into the Night Vault, which was underneath the
Oh, cool. And so
city.
you're just kind of like falling down into it.
Everyone's fallen into it and continuing to fight and look for their loot. So there we go. And again, just by putting a sort of a quick wash over those bases, because the bases were white, we've got all that detail is readily sort of picked out,
Oh, gotcha.
which is really cool. But yeah, you can kind of see why I don't do why I don't do a lot of washes on the show, because they take
time.
take time to dry. I know. I'm just sitting here going, maybe I should get a heat lamp.
I wonder, can you do
Pop
that?
them off the side. You could.
Would a heat lamp work better or a fan? Would heat affect the minis?
Yeah, heat's going to sort of increase the speed at which the moisture
But
evaporates.
I mean, like, it wouldn't
Oh,
deform the plastic. would
you
it?
don't want it to be too hot. So maybe rather than just like a heat lamp, just a lamp,
Okay.
and put the minis fairly close to it. But
Oh, God, this chain's
Yeah.
kind of inside.
yeah, depending on what the miniature's made out of, you're going to get a different result. So metal miniatures would be just fine. You wouldn't have to worry about those at all, unless your lamp was like 400 degrees or something.
If there's a way for me to burn something, don't put it past me.
We'll find a way.
Facebook message you. I've melted all my
Melted all my minis. Resin miniatures tend to sort of deform faster with heat. But generally, high impact polystyrene plastic miniatures, like these ones, are generally pretty resistant up to a certain point. But yeah, with resin miniatures, sometimes if you leave them in your car on a hot summer's day, you can find some problems.
Because I use, in cosplay, we use thermoplastics.
Right.
So we
yeah,
use
yeah.
like Warbler and stuff like that. And yeah.
Yep.
I've put that in a hot car before. There goes your armor.
Yeah, that would be bad. So you always got to keep in the back of your head. What do I have to take out? Have we had anybody saying that they played
let's see.
Shadespire?
James says that he has season 1 of Shadespire.
Cool.
Oh, Natasha said that video games have seasons. Yeah.
Right. Yep. I think it's a cool way to to think of it. And Games Workshop themselves haven't described this as the second season. That's really the...
Someone said, you can play games with miniatures?
Who said that?
Carl. Carl said that.
Oh, Carl. You have to find some solo games, Carl. He said, forever alone.
Well, that's my problem, is I remember there was a time when Game Train was like, take this game home, learn how to play it, come in and let's talk about it. And I was like, okay. Then I realized I did not have as many friends as I thought I did. And I'm like, can I have games for 1 to 2 players?
Right. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? These days we have a lot of friends online. Friends who live in other countries.
See, and I say that'd be cool to have like a game that you could play like online as far as that, but I feel like with these you really have to have the interactions with other people.
Yeah, it's it definitely improves the experience, I think, without a doubt. But taking this very carefully around the back, I'm being a little bit too impatient. So I'm painting all of her thorns
Yeah, I
a
started
bit faster than.
I'm the same way. I don't have patience.
Right. Are you painting them near the other paints though, like the drying washes?
Yeah, the drawing one. Well, I'm trying to stay away from them.
Yeah. There we go.
Very delicate.
So it's just going along. Nice. Okay, so looking at these, I think the kind of the base coat here on the was it Vaclav, the Cruel, have dried. So I'm going to do here is grab a little bit of white and a little bit of light grey and mix the two of them together.
Oh, are you doing the dry brushing now?
Or highlight,
The
yeah,
highlight,
the highlighting. Or actually, I guess this technique is called layering.
Okay.
So imagine thinking you're building up highlights in a series of layers. Is sort of really where that comes from. Because technically, dry brushing is a type of highlighting.
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Like, is dry brushing always highlighting, but highlighting is it's one of those
Yes.
analogies?
Yes, it's one of those things.
It's an SAT thing.
Yep.
And they said you wouldn't use it after high school.
So all jacuzzis are spas, but not all spas are jacuzzis. Is that hot tubs? Yeah, all
Is
jacuzzis
it?
are hot tubs. Not all hot tubs are jacuzzis. Because jacuzzi is a brand name.
Oh.
Thanks, Big Bang Theory.
So James also said he usually plays his Scraven Warband.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So it's Spike Claws Raiders, I think. But the cool thing about these guys is basically the warbands they vary in size, anywhere from 3 models to previously 7 was the most. So like this warband has 7. But I think there's a warband coming up that's all goblins and little monsters called squigs. And there's 9 of those.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. But still, it's only 9 models to paint, which is cool. You get them done very quickly, and they're tiny as well. They're much smaller than these models. Because they're all like 2 foot tall. So you can see here on the palette, I've mixed some gray and some white there. That's so that I can mix in some white later to get those final highlights there. But for these, I want most of the highlights to be down towards the bottom edge of the trailing robes. So you can see I've got that. And then as we get up towards the top, I'm going to have that brighter green for the Hex Wraith Flame. Which is there. I haven't actually played Shadespire myself, apart from a couple of demo games. But I painted up, along with Drew Carrington from 1 Inch Heroes, we painted up a couple of warbands earlier on this year that were then raffled off for charity.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yep.
I've noticed that a lot of, well, so I noticed a lot.
Yep.
I went into Warhammer in Annapolis.
Oh, cool. The Warhammer store there?
Yeah, and it was my first time being inside of like a miniatures specifically store.
Okay, yep.
And it was really cool, and they had like a trophy case with like awards, and people had like won
Right.
different things for their, and then they had like charity drives that they were doing and like selling painted miniatures. It was really cool.
All right. All sorts of fun things going on. Yeah, it is cool, and the communities that build up around what we do. Speaking of which, I'm going to use that as a cheesy segue
There you go.
into our Painting Happy Little Minis group.
Oh, yes.
I think only a couple of weeks ago we had a competition for when we crossed the 500 member threshold for our Facebook group.
And that was a huge paint set.
That
right?
was, yeah, yep. And we are, I think we're about 30 people away from 750.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's super cool,
Growing.
fast. So we'll probably have another competition then. I think that would be neat for us to do.
All right, let's see, we got about
So
15.
if you're watching and you aren't already a member of our Painting Happy Little Minis community, head on over to our Facebook page, to the group, click Join Group, and one of us will rush to admit you. And then you can join all of us in there talking about painting minis and showing off what our latest works are and that sort of thing. We've got painters of all skill levels, all ranges.
All right, so now what kind of brush are you using for your highlights?
Oh, yeah, I'm using a nice fine brush.
Very
so I'm going
fine,
to
all
grab this one for you. There we go. Cool. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll sort of hand that one to you there. And I'm going to get on to doing a little more on her.
I'm just going to watch you for a minute.
Sure.
Just watch the master at work.
Here we go. So, because I wanted the Briar Queen to sort of stand out from everybody else, she's got almost like a veil over her head. I'm going to paint that. That's going to be the sort of the brightest part of the model. So, starting up there, and you see that standing out already. Bringing that down. And this is quite, my paint here is quite thin, so that the green underneath can show through a little bit.
I'm nervous now. I haven't done this before.
How's it going?
I'm like, I'm nervous.
One thing that you might want to do, if you want to try it, sort of imagine, or just basically turn the model around
Oh, and do it
and
from
work
bottom.
from the bottom to the top, yeah.
Ta-da, that's smart.
Sometimes it's really helpful to do that, sort of spinning the model around, attacking it from a different angle.
That's smart. All right.
There we go. So, ooh. Leona's back in the room doing something with the camera. We don't know what's going
So now
on.
how do you get it on without like, just so, okay, so when I'm putting it on, I feel like I'm getting like very clear lines of like, that's very noticeably different.
Right.
Like how do you blend it so it doesn't look like a giant white stripe?
Well, sometimes it's going to look like a giant white stripe, but other times just maybe mix in a little bit of the green back into it.
Okay.
Don't make it too thin because you
Okay.
don't want it to spread out like a wash.
Ah, gotcha, okay.
But you don't want it too thick, so it's going to be globby or anything
Make
like
it
that.
perfect.
Yeah. Here we go.
Dude, find the perfect mix.
Yeah. You have to mix a little bit more green in there. There we go. So with that, because we're doing layering, building up, it's about building up in layers. So you don't have to go straight to that highlight, that final end highlight, but you can build up through it.
So again, patience.
Patience, yeah. This actually highlighting is the part of painting that requires the most patience, for sure.
Today's episode brought to you by Patience.
So you can see here on the that I'm bringing these up. And because the model, these cloaks generally have a flow to them, you have your brush strokes follow that flow, follow that line. When we were doing the dry brushing, what we wanted there was to go across the texture.
This time you go with it.
We're going with it, yeah. So just imagine it's folds of cloth. Think about where those sort of highlights would fall. The highlights and the shadows. But there we go. I will admit this is part of the...
Bye, James. James has to leave
Oh,
on his
James.
lunch break.
Bye, James. Thanks for joining us. Hope the haunted house is going well. James works at a haunted house, I think, on the weekends.
I did that once.
Yeah?
It was my first job out of high school in Seattle. And we used to do the jump scares. And then on the weekends, they stopped letting any girls do the jump scares, like where you pop out
All
of
right,
stuff.
yep.
Because you get drunk people.
All right, come back
And on
and
the
start
weekend-
swinging?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's really crazy because it's always like these big burly guys that you think would not get afraid. And then you scare them and then they just...
Wow.
So like on weekends until they figured out not to, it was like, yeah, security getting called.
Oh, wow.
So, but that was a fun, I operated the rat. That was my thing. I had a big giant rat.
Okay,
that I would
right.
shove out of a hole, and if anyone kicked that, I was like, well, it's not me.
Right. Yeah. You got a large piece of equipment between you and
Yeah.
the people you're scaring. That's always a good idea. That's crazy. Yeah. I haven't been to a lot of haunted houses myself.
They're expensive now.
Yeah.
I was looking
Crazy.
at one. Well, first off, I decide which ones I'm going to based on whether or not they have a fast pass option.
Okay, right.
Because I don't like waiting long. And then, like, I think I was looking at one, and it was like for all the haunted houses with fast pass, it was like $100.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's like Six Flags money.
Wow, that's crazy.
But they're really cool.
Have you been to the one at Eastern State Penitentiary in?
No, but I want to go to Eastern State
Philadelphia?
Penitentiary.
Yeah.
I want to do a ghost investigation.
Right.
Go there with my like electro EMF detector,
Right.
and then yell at the ghosts until they come out, because that's what they do. As I've learned from ghost adventures, you just yell at them.
You coax them out.
You call them names, and then
I can stand here all day yelling at the wall. You're the crazy one. No, that's funny. I've been to Eastern State Penitentiary, and I've actually been in October, but I didn't go to the haunted house that they do there.
did you go in?
Yeah, went into the and looked around the things. Basically, did the tour and all that sort of stuff. They have like an audio tour that's narrated by Steve Buscemi.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Like he visited it once and was like, "This is awesome. I'm going to do something to help."
That's awesome.
So he narrated it for free and that. But that's a great old prison. It'd be fantastic for a haunted house.
I know they always do like investigations there.
Yeah. That's really good. Oop.
See, I just want to go in when no one else is, like at night,
Right. Okay.
because I'm crazy.
With like a flashlight where the batteries, you're not 100% sure. You got to keep shaking them to get the connection back. That sort of thing.
Maybe.
Maybe.
If I have another person with me that I can push into harm's way.
All right. Okay.
There's a ghost coming. Shh.
I don't have to run fast, just faster than you.
Yeah,
Is that it?
exactly.
Okay.
That's zombie apocalypse rules.
Yep.
Also works for hauntings.
Yep. That's good. There we go.
Yeah, actually, my friends found that out. We went to Six Flags recently, the one up in Annapolis.
Okay.
And, you know, they have like, after a certain time, they have all the actors that come out. And I like literally pushed my friends in between me. And they're like, Mia would kill us in the zone. I was like, yeah.
Yep.
Survival of the fittest, guys.
I'm sorry, did you trip? Yeah. I'll remember that. There we go.
All right, we got 8 minutes left.
8 minutes left. Okay. I think it's good. Oh. How's that looking?
Oh, wow. Okay, that looks a lot better than mine.
That looks pretty awesome on the monitor that we've got here. But yeah, so a little bit more white in the highlights there.
I feel like I'm too scared with the white that my white's
Oh, okay.
barely showing up.
No, that's fine.
It's a lot of baby steps.
Yeah. It's about building confidence.
I think I'm just scared to put too much on and then
Right.
not be able to get it off.
Well, I will let you know a little secret. I've been painting for nearly 30 years, and I'm still afraid to take my highlights too high. So it's a common thing. But some of the best paint jobs that you'll see, sort of each section will go from something really dark, almost a black, through to almost white. So I know that if I want my paint jobs to be amazing, then I'll have to eventually break that fear.
So how many layers, what's the most number of layers of colors you've done?
That's a good question. I don't know. Usually I do about 3.
Okay.
But probably the most I've done would be about 6 or 7.
Okay.
I kind of get a little bit, I get impatient after that. But yeah, some painters will do 20, 30 layers. There's a lot of sort of going in, doing some shading, bringing some highlights back up, glazing colors, that sort of thing.
Glazing.
Yeah, glazing is a sort of another technique. It's almost actually the wash that we put over this tinted the white, so the green wash tinted that a green. The blue was a little bit heavier, so it did a sort of a stronger job of that tinting. But that's basically sort of glazing, as you're tinting your colors.
Gotcha.
But most often it's sort of like with a very, very fine sort of thing. I'm going to check some of the other things.
All right.
Okay.
Trying to do a good job of being moderator here.
Yep. It's kind of crazy having to do paint, learn to paint, and talk about crazy ghost movies and ghost shows.
I'm just impressed I haven't dropped paint on myself yet.
Good job. Oh, we haven't got those. We didn't get those hobby bibs at all. We'll have to work on that. And I know we've only got a few minutes left. I'm going to get out a little bit more paint, and go from there. So
5 minutes.
5 minutes. 5 minutes is what we've got left. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gretchen's gonna have fun finishing mine. She's finishing. Sorry,
Yeah,
Gretchen.
so we're going to have Gretchen in on Thursday, painting with me, and finishing this off. I think it's going to be cool.
These inside parts are what's hard. I'm like,
All right.
get
I
inside.
wouldn't worry too much about those. Yeah.
No, because I can see it. It's gonna bug me.
Oh, okay. If you can see it, then yeah, sure. That's cool. Okay, just a little bit more.
Bend brush. Go the way I want you to.
Yelling
I
at
get it in like one little spot, and it keeps.
yelling at the brush.
Yes.
Okay.
Keeps folding the other way.
No. Oh, yeah, with the brush, particularly these fine ones, is when you pull them out,
And do this thing.
do the draw. Yeah, draw them across the. Then you get the point back. Unless you want to do the brush licking like I do. Nobody wants to do that, right?
No.
Everybody's disgusted by me. I
That's
see.
what we need, that disclaimer. On the, do not try this
Do
at
not try
home.
this at home.
Hi, Lee. Joining us for the last little
Ooh.
bit.
Hey, Lee. Excellent. Okay, so I think we're coming close to the end. This is the one I've got most work done on, is the Briar Queen. Spent quite a bit of time sort of going back and doing the highlights on the robe. Did a little bit of highlights on the robes of Vaclav there as well. Need to come back and do his cowl, the arms, and face on the Briar Queen, yeah. And then all the details, all those pesky little details. They won't take long. Actually, you've got a whole bunch of yours started. Let's check those out.
Yeah, I got some details because I was impatient.
Cool. Okay, so looking at Mia's, so this is a chain rasp.
Not too bad.
Looking,
It's better on camera.
Yep. Looks great. Check out those robes.
Oh, see, that looks a lot better on camera. Okay, so
Yep.
see, it's like when you look at a cosplay. When you work, like when I work on a cosplay for too long, you see it so in depth, so you notice like all the little things. But then
Yep.
when you take a step back, you're like, oh, you don't notice like the little screw up.
Or you see photos, or
Yeah.
you see video, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Like no one will notice.
But no, this looks great. Super cool there. Okay, so we've got that chain rasp and the ever hanged. Yeah, check that out. Yeah, looks
That does
great.
look like one of those like Death Eater kind of things,
Yeah. Yep. Crazy.
but with a sword, so it's kind of scarier.
Yep. So it looks fantastic. So great work. Very
Kill
cool.
your hopes and dreams and you.
Drink them all.
Yay!
Excellent. So I'm going to close that up. So we've been painting Nighthaunts from Games Workshop's Warhammer Underworld's Nightvault game. This box set is available in your local store now, your friendly local gaming store. $60 in the US, I believe. I mentioned those other warbands earlier. There are 8 other boxed warbands that are available. I think they're $30 each.
Okay.
And you get the cards, all the cards you need, all the unit cards, the different tactics cards that you use while playing the games, that sort of thing. They've also loads of other great accessories. There's a play mat, there's sleeves, there are dice, there are boxes to keep your decks in, all that sort of stuff. Loads of cool things. But the important thing is that there's a very active competitive gaming community built around Nightvault and Shadespire. Lots of great support from Games Workshop. Nice. So if you're interested in playing a really cool, fast-paced board game, miniatures game, card game, all mashed together, then Underworld's Nightvault is for you. Head on down to your local game store, join the community there, get painting.
Join the community here,
join
too.
the community here. Oh, yeah.
Game Trade Media.
Yep, yeah. Come along, find your own Game Trade Media now. If you're on Facebook, click like, head to our YouTube channel, click subscribe. Twitch, I'm not sure what you do on Twitch. Maybe it's ring a bell or something like that. There are things that you do. Do all of those things. That'll be great for us. Thank you. I think that's it for us for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Thursday to finish these models up. I'll be joined by Gretchen then. Oh, look at that. I just noticed. White on my
that's
lip.
what happens when you lick your paintbrush.
So that happens when you lick. Yep. At least I noticed before I went out into the world and nobody else got to see it, right? But yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us today. I'm Dave.
I'm Mia.
And we'll see you at the game store.
See.
Guys, we're super excited to share that our new book, The Overstreet Guide to Collecting Tabletop Games, is now available.
We love tabletop gaming as much as you do, and we're so thrilled to share the finished book with the community. This book covers the history of the tabletop industry, from classic board games like Monopoly to collectible card games like Magic, and of course RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons.
The book also highlights some of the top talent in the industry, featuring interviews with Peter Atkinson, Matthew Mercer, Larry Elmore, and many more. Plus, we chatted with collectors from all walks of life who shared their own knowledge and insight about tabletop collecting.
We also discuss everything from the impact of crowdfunding on the current state of the industry, as well as take a look at all sorts of ways to preserve your collection for years to come. This book provides a perfect snapshot of the tabletop industry at large and shows what makes this hobby so great.
You can head into your local game store or comic shop right now and pick up your copy of the Overstreet Guide to Collecting Tabletop Games. If they don't have it in stock, you can order your copy through previews, through Game Trade Magazine, or through gemstonepub.com.
Thanks for watching Painting Happy Little Minis. If you liked it, leave a like and a comment below, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new content.